No way.
Yes Way, the Disney fantasy film Tomorrowland, finished third, earning $17.1 million at your weekend box office. At number 2, the musical Pitch Perfect 2 chimed in with $18.4 million.
Out the door. Race clear.
And coming in at number 1, the disaster film San Andreas, starring Dwayne Johnson. It unearthed a healthy $66.2 million. Joining us this week in studio is Jason Gorber, a critic with twitchfilm.com. Jason, good to see you back from Cannes. What'd you bring me?
I brought you terrible movies this week. Actually, that's not true. One of them's terrible, one's not terrible.
So, Dwayne The Rock, how do you do?
So, The Rock didn't tumble. I don't know whatever pun we're going to use here for an earthquake movie. But look, there's not much I want from an earthquake movie other than a lot of earthquakes and a lot of destruction, and this movie delivers. There's some terrific scenes of mayhem. There's lots of shots of buildings being destroyed and people falling out of them and things on fire. And when the movie's doing that, the movie's terrific. When the movie actually gets into it being a giant metaphor for a breakup of a marriage and a family coming back together, it's kind of terrible. But luckily, the way that all action porn works, as long as the action's okay, everything's fine. All the stuff in between, we don't really need to worry about.
Long enough, too long. Sometimes these kind of movies, you know, they get, lengthy.
The preposterous thing is that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is playing a paramedic, so he's in a rescue helicopter. So they have to find ways of him only rescuing the people that he needs to rescue. So there'll be an entire business building with one person on top. Everyone else below is dying, and that's totally fine, but the one person he manages to rescue. So, again, it's not that it's necessarily too long, it's just they find really convoluted ways of having the one rescue person who actually has equipment to rescue people only rescue the people we're worried about in the film. Everyone else, let's watch them die, and that's part of the weird, surreal pleasure that you get from disaster movies like this.
Now, you mentioned that all of the movies this week were bad. What's wrong with Aloha?
Aloha is just terrible.
You wanted to say goodbye.
Look, we talked a couple years ago about We Bought a Zoo. Cameron Crowe's last film, and I actually went back and read my review that I had written again, and I said all these things like Cameron Crowe should go watch The Descendants, that's how to do character movies. I think he did. He watched The Descendants like, I can set a movie in Hawaii. This will totally work. I will get Jonesy back on the soundtrack. I'll stick a bunch of classic rock in, and we'll make some sort of weird, surreal, metaphysical love story. Disaster. It is just terrible. The film is almost unwatchable. And look, after his big Oscar sort of thrust with American Sniper, this is Bradley Cooper doing his best, Emma Stone doing her best, but the film just does not come together. It's just kind of disastrous.
Like, critically, is that what's happening with this film, and how does something like this get made in the first place then?
Look, Cameron Crowe has, for reasons unbeknownst to me, because I've never really loved any of his films, but if you look at Almost Famous, if you look at these big things, Fast Times at Ridgemont High that he wrote, these things that actually brought him into the sort of public sphere, he's clearly has friends at studios. Sony gave him enough money, enough stars for him to actually do his thing, and he thought, okay, what's the worst that can happen? Well, unfortunately, Aloha's the worst that can happen. It opened disastrously. The critics have been slamming it. It is not a particularly great movie, even sort of as just for fun. Look, go see Mad Max again. Mad Max is what's worth seeing this week.
I haven't seen it once.
I saw it for the third time this week in 3D. It's remarkable. It's the film that we should be worrying about.
Only 30 seconds left for Big Bird documentary.
Yeah, so the Carol Spinney doc, it's playing in a couple theaters across the country. It played Hot Docs, I guess, last year. Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch, such important parts of my childhood and perhaps yours. And it's a really beautiful documentary about the man behind the Muppet.
Jason, thank you very much. I'm going to remind people they can follow you on Twitter at filmfest_ca. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Scott.
Have a great week.